When our funny little rubber lad turned into a magical albino, everyone lost their minds. People were saying, where do we go from here? How could this be? Then we find out that he is not a paramecia user, and that was all a government cover-up. No, he is a mythical zoan user. And then the question becomes, well, why didn't Luffy ever have any forms like the rest of the zoans? I have made videos on this topic before, but I think now, since there are a few more eyes on my channel, I should explain this again. It's actually very simple, and I plan to break it down for you today as to why Luffy does not have any forms as a zoan. As Vegapunk tells us, devil fruits are born out of the wishes and desires of people. They are the wishes and desires of people made manifest. Therefore, you can say zoan fruits are all based on the human perception and desire to be the various creatures and myths that exist in the world. Stories that have been passed down from generation to generation, or the various beasts, both present and past, that have inhabited the various areas that humans inhabit. With that being said, it makes a lot of sense that the zoan fruit type is approached in a very scientific way, because unlike paramecia and logia, zoan are broken down both by fruit type and by model. So when you see a zoan, most of the time, it would be animal, model this particular animal. So in, say, Pale's case, he has the bird fruit, model falcon. And then you have Marco, who has the bird fruit, model phoenix. The important thing to remember here is that the model type is not what is important here. It is the fruit classification, the thing that comes first in the naming, the actual animal. Keeping the fruit name in mind, I want to bring you back to chapter 149, entitled Rumble. This is during Drum, in which Chomper is talking about the mechanics of his Rumble Ball. He says that each one of his base forms as a zoan emits a wavelength that can be altered by the intake of a Rumble Ball, thus giving him 4 additional forms. Therefore, this says that each zoan, as we traditionally know them, has a wavelength assigned to each one of their forms. I like to think of it as a sliding scale of sorts. So at one end, you have their default form. In the middle, there's a hybrid state. And at the far end, it's the animal form or whatever form that is contained within inside the devil fruit. And then in between all 3 of those forms are several ticks that determine several sort of partial transformations that we see with Chomper's Rumble Ball state. So with that being said, what happens when the organism who eats the fruit is the same type of organism as the essence within the fruit? You get Luffy. You get Luffy because Luffy is a human who has eaten a human fruit. Therefore, seeing as how the organism within the fruit is a human and the organism consuming the fruit is a human, there's nothing for the user to transform into, because the two are the same type of organism, both the one eating it and the one inside the fruit. So what happens then? What happens, I think, and we've seen 3 examples of this, is that the fruit accounts for whatever the user doesn't have that the essence within the fruit actually does have. So in Luffy's situation, Luffy is a human, so there are no transformations. But Luffy is initially not made of rubber. However, Nika literally is a rubber man. So, seeing as how Luffy is a man that is not made of rubber, the fruit makes him a man made of rubber. You already checked off the human requirement, so we have nowhere to go there, but the fruit can make you rubber. So that's what it does to Luffy. This process repeats with characters like Stronger. Stronger from the Blackbeard Pirates is a horse that ate the horse fruit model Pegasus. But seeing as how the Pegasus fruit is a horse fruit and Stronger is a horse, well, you can't make a horse more of a horse. So what does it do? It gives Stronger wings, because Stronger was a normal horse without wings. So it filled in any gap that was left, which is giving him wings like the Pegasus. The third and final person on this list is former Fleet Admiral Sengoku, who is a human that ate the human fruit model Daibutsu, or Great Buddha. I don't think he got much from his fruit initially, because he's a human that ate a human fruit, so transformations are off the table. However, I do think it gave him some sort of form of increased intellect or increased insight, and then over the years he just trained that, which is why he is heralded as a great tactician. But if you do recall, he did have a transformation in Marineford. However, I think that is his only transformation, and it's a transformation based on awakening. So you could be saying, well, Sengoku doesn't have any clouds around him. How can he be awakened? Well, from the story so far, we know that there are two types of awakening. The first being the big hulking version that we see in the Demon Guards. I think Sengoku is the natural occurrence of that. That could have happened because he was so adept with his fruit, but doesn't get something about it. Meaning he doesn't get what his fruit is about, but his mind and body are so caught up with his abilities that he's there, but he's not quite there. Because from how the story is going, the eloquent awakening, the one with clouds, is being propped up as the perfect awakening. So what Sengoku has is the more controlled version of what the Demon Guards have. Now, the difference between Sengoku and Luffy versus characters like Luffy and the Demon Guards is this. With Luffy and the Demon Guards, you have a transformation that is basically just a variation on a hybrid state. There's nothing really fancy about it. It's a compromise between the base form of the user and the animal form that is contained within the respective fruits. The only difference is that characters like Luffy got to retain their human sensibilities, whereas the Demon Guards more so have beast-like sensibilities, for whatever reason that is. However, with Sengoku and Luffy, when they awaken, they were already humans. They were humans that ate human fruits. So there's no need for compromise, because they were already the same type of beings that were being held within the fruit. So when they awaken, they just inherit the physical traits of the beings held within the fruits, along with any other additional powers that those beings may have. So to recap, the reason why Luffy, as a Zoan fruit user, does not have any transformations is because he is of the very rare group of Zoan fruit users who have eaten a fruit that contains the same type of organism that they were already. So he is a human that ate a human fruit, much like how Sengoku is a human that ate a human fruit, or like how Stronger is a horse that ate a horse fruit. And the only time these type of users get a transformation is when they awaken in which the true nature of the fruit truly comes to the forefront, and the user inherits all of the aspects of the being that is within the fruit. So for Luffy, it's becoming a magical albino. For Sengoku, it's becoming a giant golden Buddha. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Give me your thoughts.